Hello and welcome to the Law of Cosines notes. Now we're going to start by calculating a side, and then the next page is how to calculate an angle. So there's actually 3 examples on this page. So we are calculating a side A. We have this side, which is side C, that's 9. And then side B is 10, and we are also given angle A. So those are the things you need to solve for a side. This is our formula, and this is the law of cosines. So if you look, this is pretty familiar. It looks similar to something you've seen before, like Pythagorean theorem, but if you notice, the equal sign is just in a little different spot. So the way this works is if you are looking for A, you will need the other 2 sides, B and C. So B and C. And then you will also need angle A. And that's all you need. And you were just plugging these numbers in. Okay, so we're looking for A, so I'm going to put A squared here. And then we're going to find our B, which is 10 squared plus C, which is 9. So we put 9 squared there minus 2 times our B and our C, 10, 9, and then times cosine of A, and A is 41. And so this has to be an angle. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take highlighters to show you guys where these numbers are coming from. So I've got my 10, which is my B side, and I'm going to highlight that in orange. That goes in there twice, okay? And then I've got a different color for my C. So this is 9. Okay. And then I've got a different color for my angle, which is angle A. So it's right there. So these are where all these numbers come from. So if that helps you use highlighters, go for it. And now we are ready. Okay, so we can go ahead and simplify this down. So 10 times 10 is 100. 9 squared is 81. And then minus 2 times 10 times 9, which is 180, times cosine of 41. Alright, and this is a subtraction symbol. So A squared equals 181, oh goodness, 181, there we go, minus 180 times cosine of 41. And this we can put in the calculator. Alright, so I'm going to do 181. You guys can't really see that. There we go, that's better. 181 minus 180 times the trig button cosine of 41. And you end up with 45.15. And one mistake people do is forget that this is actually A squared. So we are given A squared is 45.1523. So what you want to do is take your square root and put it under, and you get approximately 6.7. So square root of both sides, A is going to end up being 6.7. So it's not too crazy, it's really just following a formula. And yeah, that's how you do it. Okay. Let's write out what we have here. So we are looking for side C, right? So C squared is going to equal A squared plus B squared minus 2 times AB times the cosine of C. So it's exactly what I did up there, except this is what we are giving. So now we're looking for C, so we have to switch these out. These become A and B instead of B and C. And then these numbers, oh, and I forgot to highlight those, didn't I? I see. Goodness. There we go. Alright, so we can now plug everything in. This is our lowercase b. This is our lowercase a. We have all that we need. Our lowercase b is here and here. Our lowercase a is here and here. And our C goes there. Let's do this thing. C squared. So we're looking for C. This is our C. It's across from angle C. Is equal to 8 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 8 times 12 times cosine of our angle, which is 65. Okay, and now we are ready to keep chugging along. 64, 144 minus 192, and that's 2 times 8 times 12 times cosine of 65. We can go ahead and add this together. It was 208 minus 192 times cosine of 65. Make sure you don't make the mistake of putting this, like 208 minus 92, in the calculator and then multiplying, because this you're going to multiply first because of PEMDAS. So 192, actually I'm going to go ahead and put the whole thing in the calculator. 208 minus 192. These calculators are smart and they know PEMDAS. And then cosine of 65. You get approximately 126.857. 126.857. We want to take the square root of both sides, but just to be as accurate as possible, I'm going to put my square root and then go and grab my answer and put it there, and your C is going to be approximately 11.3. Okay, so I want you to pause the video now, and then I want you to work this last problem. Ooh, totally ran out of space here. Alright, you couldn't see this last part. That's okay. So I want you to pause the video and do this last problem, and then watch me work it. Okay, so hopefully you noticed that we are looking for side A. Here's side C and side B. We've got to figure out what this angle is. We don't really care about these angles because we need this side, and this side to solve for the opposite, or this side, and this angle. So what our first step is going to be is taking 180 and subtracting 43 plus 61. And when we do that, we get 76. So this angle is 76 degrees. Now these three are what we need. So we're going to take our A squared equals B squared plus C squared minus 2 times B times C times cosine of A. So remember, that is our formula that we're going to use. I'm going to take this C there and there. B is here and here. A is there. Alright, now we can plug everything in. So a squared equals 5 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 5 times 4 times cosine of 76. I would highly recommend using highlighters because it really just makes it a lot harder to mess up. You know, it allows you to be able to color code it in your mind and plug the correct numbers in. So a squared equals 25 plus 16 minus 40 times cosine of 76. Alright, so that's 41 minus 40 times cosine of 76. And a squared, when we put that in the calculator, it's 31.3231. And then a ends up being about 5.6. Okay, that's the calculating aside for law of cosines. Now we're moving on to angles. Alright, so in this case, we're calculating an angle. We are given the 3 sides. So you have to have the 3 sides, and you're calculating one of the angles. So if I highlight these, my A is going to be, this is my A side, across C, across B. A is here. My B is here and here. My C is here and here. And then that's what we're looking for, the A. Alright, so let's plug everything in. So 5 squared equals 13 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 13 times 12 times cosine of A. So I'm going to let you process that for a second. Okay. And then this becomes 25, 169, 144. This is 312 times cosine of A. Alright, we continue to move on, and we are going to add these together. This is going to come up here. We'll add these together. 25 equals 313 minus 312 cosine A. And then I'm going to subtract 313 on both sides, because we're trying to get cosine of A all by itself. So that's going to disappear. We end up with negative 288 equals negative 312 cosine A. And if you're like, oh, we have a negative sign, that's bad. Well, it's going to end up canceling out when we divide. So we shall divide by negative 312 on both sides. Our whole goal is to get cosine A all by itself. And then these cancel out, so cosine of A is going to equal, we're just going to put this in as a fraction, positive 288 over 312, because this is actually going into the calculator. Alright, if you remember, anytime we are solving for an angle, we have to use the inverse. So it will turn into cosine inverse of 288 over 312, and that is what A will equal. So let's put that in the calculator. Cosine inverse of 288 over 312, and we get approximately 22.6. So the measure of angle A is about 22.6 units, or degrees. All right, so that's how we do it. Let's do another one. So we are now looking for B. So we are going to do B squared equals A squared plus C squared minus 2 times AC times cosine of B, because that's what we're looking for, angle B.
Good afternoon.
Alright, so I went ahead and labeled the sides. A is across from A, B is across from B, C is across from C. And we can plug stuff in. So, A, C, 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 and B. And then that's what we're looking for, is cosine of B. So we get 6 squared equals 3 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 3 times 4 times cosine of B. (36) equals 9 plus 16 is 25. And then 2 times 3 times 4 is 24. Alright, we are going to subtract on both sides. 36 minus 25 is 11. We're like, ooh, quite interesting. Now we're going to end up with a negative, and that is A-okay. That's just the way this one works out. So negative 11 over 24 equals cosine B. What we have to do is the measure of angle B is equal to cosine inverse of negative 11 over 24. Okay, let's go ahead and put that in. Of negative 11 over 24. And you end up with 117.3. This is an obtuse triangle. Alright, so for this one, I'm going to go pretty quickly. I already have them labeled. And here's our equations. The only difference is we are now using C. And then we have A squared plus B squared minus 2AB. Then next, we are going to plug all of these in. So the 4's go where the C's are. 3 go where the A's are. 6 goes where the B's are. And then we are going to go ahead and square both of them, or all of them, I guess. Add the 9 and the 36 together. If I'm going too fast, make sure you realize you can pause this between each step. And then I subtract 45 on both sides. and get negative 29 equals negative 36 times cosine of c. And then I divide by negative 36 on both sides. And then that ends up becoming positive because it's a negative divided by a negative. And then remember, anytime we're looking for an angle, we use the inverse. Cosine inverse of 29 over 36. And we get 36 root 3. Or sorry, 36.3 is our answer.